Hi there, I'm Linda Murray, founder of Athena Leadership Academy. Today I want to share some tips with you that I found really helpful while working with my team during the ups and downs, kind of like dealing with a global pandemic. When things are uncertain, your people are going to be looking for some sort of security. And sure, you can't control some of the effects of the downs, but following these 5 tips will give your people some confidence that things are actually going to be okay. We all develop habits. Some are good, some not so good. The difficult thing with habits is that we fall into them without noticing. When we're not aware of them, our habits are out of our control. In fact, you could almost say that our habits control us. So during these times of living on autopilot, we need others to point out our habits, particularly the ones that aren't so helpful for us. So think about it. Most of us have been working from home for a long time now. Some of us will have managed well, and others have struggled. Yet all of us have probably found surprising new habits or routines which have made working from home a lot easier. However, most of us expected to be back in the workplace by now, so we didn't put too much thought into the long-term nature of these habits. Are those habits still helping you, or could we be doing things better? So one of the best things you can do for your people is to talk about what's working and what's not, so that they can recognise and reinforce habits that actually support them longer term. If a habit worked well in the short term, but is now not working so well, look for a better habit and offer encouragement as that new habit gets embedded. Isn't the workplace a very different place since the pandemic? Flexible work hours and now remote work is common. And while the idea of working from home sounded great in the beginning, don't you think? The truth is that it's been a big adjustment and the novelty has well and truly worn off. Some of your people will have raised issues with you. Things like working outside of traditional hours or problems with equipment or software. Our homes weren't set up with all the infrastructure that we have back in the office. But think about this. For every person who has come to you, there will be at least one who hasn't. So what issues are they struggling with? What are they not talking with you about? So it's completely natural for people to need advice and support as they start to adapt to new ways of working. But it doesn't always feel natural to talk about these with the boss. So you need to change this. Open a conversation. And by discussing these kinds of issues as a team, they become almost normalised. It's okay to speak about what's not working and even to ask for help. In fact, it's expected that you do. Role model how your people can learn from each other's experiences. So open the conversation and start to overcome these hidden issues. How are you feeling right now? For some people, when the way we work changes drastically, career paths can suddenly look pretty bleak. If you think about your people, have they lost their way? Here's what you can do if that feels like the case for you. You need to refocus them to paint a new and inviting future. Give them something to hold on to, a sense of confidence that there is still a career for them to look forward to. Focus on personal and professional development, particularly around technology, to make sure that everyone is comfortable, whether it's using it at work or at home. We had to suddenly learn how to use new systems like Zoom and Teams with no time and a very steep learning curve. So tech is going to play a huge part of how we work from now on, and it's vital to find out what your people need and help them get it. But more than that, look at where they want to go. What talents do they have? What's important to them? What new skills have they developed that they actually really enjoy using? How can they build that into a future that excites them? See, upskilling is more than just learning one new skill at a time. There needs to be a reason to conquer each skill, and the reason lies in each person's career path. So have a conversation about career goals, and then you can support them to develop the skills that they actually need. How does your team feel about the idea of returning to the workplace? I'm hearing a lot of fear from many of my clients, and a big fear is around the possibility of virus transmission. That's a very real issue and one that needs to be discussed, especially as new variants are bound to come out. So show your team you're actively planning to protect them at work. Really explain the measures that you're taking and any new rules that are in place. So it might be things around sterilisation, social distancing, and how this affects their workstations and seating. Leading the team means minimising their fears and doing everything you can do to look after them. Don't just assume they know what you're doing or why. It's just more change to them, so make sure they understand. And don't assume they won't grumble about changes you make in the workplace despite being relieved. Understand that those sort of comments are just driven by fear, so we want to create that open space for conversation. Talk to your people, tell them what's happening, show them you're serious about looking after them by making changes and really listening to their needs. Why not ask them what would make them feel safe to return to the office? Now that's a great way to build trust and to strengthen honest conversations amongst you. When your team's faced with uncertainty, the best way to move forward is by giving them something to be certain of. We might not be able to control the future, but when we feel like we have some influence over it, we lose some of that fear of the unknown. So helping your team to plan ahead will give them something to hold on to. Look at what you can achieve and set some realistic goals for the quarter and the year, and develop a series of milestones that reflect that team progress. Goals give people something to aim for. They are future focused and that helps build resilience. So being able to tick them off and move to the next goal is really empowering and exciting for people. The goals don't have to be big and they don't even have to be work related, but they do need to be meaningful. So by the way, this works for you too. Don't forget to set your own goals and milestones. And above all, don't forget to celebrate those small victories along the way. It's great for team and personal morale. Leading people through good times and not such good times places a really heavy demand on your communication skills as a leader and your ability to really find those positives to take into the future. Are you up to it? If you're looking for some guidance around leading your team and your organisation, feel free to reach out to me or send me a message. You don't have to do this alone. Until next time, here's to your success.